I'm Sonya Morton Firth, and you're tuned in to the Sonya Morton Firth Show. Today, I'm at the Bootnecks Into Business event, a Royal Marines networking event hosted by Rise. There are 100 Royal Marines here, either still serving, in transition, or looking to make business connections. I'm going to be speaking on stage, interviewing a couple of the boys to find out about their experience of transitioning into Civvy Life. David, thank you so much for taking the time to come and have a little chat with me. Before we get into why you're here, can you tell me who you are and what you do now?
My name's David Brooks. I left the Royal Marines in 2006. I'm currently in between jobs, so I just finished a role over in the US as a Global Security Director. And so I'm looking for something in that world now over in London on a sort of permanent basis. So a kind of like senior physical security or business resilience, crisis management, something like that. So that's me now.
And if I take you back to when you left, how easy was it for you to transition out of the Marines and into civilian life?
Yeah, it is difficult. I remember it was very similar to kind of leaving school, where you're in a comfortable environment around familiar people, and then you've got to kind of go out and into the real world almost. So it is difficult. There is a support network, or when I left, there was a support network at the time. I think it's still in place, but I don't know whether it's improved. But at the time, I remember it being pretty weak. It's just a military offered kind of. They do like a workshop, and it's really basic. And then I remember they put a pamphlet in front of you and say, right, choose what course you want to go on. And at this point, you don't really know what you want to do with your life.
And did actually anyone say, well, these are the skill sets that you might have?
Not really, no. So they ask you, well, what do you want to do? What are you good at? What do you want to do for the next period of your life? And so there's not a great amount of support out there at the time anyway that's kind of provided from the military, and there weren't any networks like this today to kind of fall back on as well. So in terms of we've helped ourselves with these sorts of networks.
So how has this network helped?
I mean, this is just for guys that are leaving now that have got. They've got an ability to go into kind of Civvy Street and be here today and just basically be around people that have tread the path before them is just amazing. There was nothing like that when I left, and so just asking people the question, well, what's it like, and what do I need to do, and where do I need to focus? Then you've actually got the tangible contacts that people can share here, and then hopefully jobs on the back of that as well. It's just amazing for guys that are leaving, yeah. It's really good.
David, what's been your biggest challenge coming out?
I think probably just finding my feet the first couple of years. I probably will say that it is a matter of years until you really kind of get comfortable with the fact that you've left the Royal Marines and that you're not that person anymore, although you are, but you're kind of in a different life. And there's still little wobbles that you get thinking.
What sort of wobble?
Well, I just mean, was this the right decision? On bad, if you're in between roles, or if you're finding a role or something within the role particularly difficult, you do, at the time, a couple of years out, you still question, should I have left? And what would it look like if I rejoined? And these sorts of big questions.
Should you have left?
Absolutely not, no. Sorry, left.
Yes.
No, I was right to leave. I thought you were going to ask if I wanted to rejoin.
No.
No, I was right to leave. I don't regret anything I did in the Marines, but I've kind of shaped the way forward since then. So no, no regrets really.
David, what's your dream now? What's your path?
Immediate dream is to secure something back in London. I was with HSBC for 14 years in London, so I know the area and I've got a lot of contacts. I'm lucky I haven't just left, so I'm literally just going through the process of finding a job essentially.
David, listen, thank you so much for spending some time with me.
You're
Good
welcome.
luck with finding your job. I think this is an amazing network.
Thank you very
And
much.
I'm sure you'll find your dream.
Yeah, hopefully. Thanks very much
Thank
for your time.
you.
Cheers.
so much for stepping into my little den today. Very bold, very bold. So, Luke, can you tell me who you are and what you do now?
So my name's Luke Dalton, and I am the co-founder and MD of Contact Coffee Co.
And you served in the Royal Marines, is that right? When did you leave?
So I did 10 years, and I finished in November 2021.
When you finished, did you always know you wanted to go into a coffee company?
No,
How
not
did
at
that
all.
come about?
So we actually started the business about 3 years before I actually left. It was a bit of a hobby, bit of a, okay, let's do something, let's earn a little bit of cash on the side. There's a few sort of companies in the United States that were doing something similar. Saw essentially a gap in the market and just had a go at it. And then from what started off as a hobby, then grew to a business that was actually turning over cash. So essentially going, right, okay, I'm going to leave. Right, I'm going to do that full time. And there we am today.
I mean, that sounds quite brave because I don't hear of a lot of people that are serving that have got like an entrepreneurial idea and actually start making it happen, particularly when you're serving.
Yeah.
What sort of did you think through any challenges that you might have to face?
Just literally learning from the start. I mean, you could argue that's probably a good thing that we were a blank canvas. We didn't think we knew what we were doing. We just sort of started it and just sort of like, okay, we buy something for X amount and sell it for that much. Well, that equals profit. But then along the way, you get a lot of other obstacles in the way, and then you learn. So we've basically spent 3-4 years making mistakes to essentially, okay, we're doing all right now. So I think learning those mistakes where it wasn't an issue, there was no sort of houses involved, there was no mortgage involved, it was just dispensable cash, so to speak. We weren't taking a wage out of it, so we could experiment and purposely make those mistakes to, right, okay, now I'm transitioning, this is me, there's no mistakes now. So we did all our learning when there was no risk.
I think there's a very wise words actually from somebody. It's a great entrepreneurial journey, like you say. You don't take the risk because you're actually in a job or you were serving then, and now you've come out. It's you've learned by experience, and you've learned, like you say, you were there and you took the risks, and things didn't always go right, but you learned while you were still serving. Do you think being a Royal Marine or serving lends itself to being an entrepreneur, and if so, how?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a lot of transitional skills you can take from it, which is obviously probably is a bit weird to hear. So, okay, you used to be trained to do certain things and weapons and stuff. Like how does that transition to running the business, working out P&Ls and all that sort of thing? But the way we structure our business, and it sounds quite cheesy, but it's similar. It was mentioned tonight about sort of like orders process and stuff like that. We're very like order driven, so it's like, right, okay, from start to finish, like details, all about finer details. Like it's not about going from X to Y to Z. Sorry, it's how you get from Y to Z, but the journey you make from that. So the finer details. Okay, right, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. If this happens, we'll go to that plan. If that happens, we'll go to plan C, and that sort of way. So we're very process driven from how we do things now.
So you're almost planning different scenarios in case this happens and that happens, and that's I'm guessing, quite a military mindset.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely.
Tell me about the coffee company. What is it that you do, and how do you sell your coffee?
It all came from working away on exercise and operations, being out in the sticks, being provided pretty much like
You can say it. Shit
borderline
coffee.
shit diabolical coffee, freeze dried shit coffee that's been wet, and you've got like a plastic spoon, you're trying to chip away at it into a polystyrene cup, and it's just like that. From what that's supposed to be your luxury, and it wasn't. Do you know what I mean? That's supposed to be your time to like the downtime and stuff like that. So from going away, lads would like preempt it or get stuff sent out, like decent coffee cafetiers, and coffee was sort of like upcoming at the time, like sort of like 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. And now it's like such a normal thing. It's every other shop window. Then it was like sort of up and coming. So there's an American company that were doing something similar, had like essentially a military themed coffee company. So we looked at the market, was like, there's nothing there. And then through drinking coffee, that's your downtime. It's sort of time, especially when you're away, to sort of have 5 minutes for yourself. If you've had a long couple of days and the worst has happened, then it gives you time to sit there, open up, lean more into like the mental health side of things, not only just morale. So that's where essentially how and why we started it. And it's just grown from there.
So now is your main market military? Is that who you're sort of focusing
I
on?
think our core ethos is always going to be the military. We're never going to move away from that. We know that's where we come from. That's our main aim. That's the main sort of people we want to protect. But then we can tap into sort of the fitness industry, and then along with the military comes sort of outdoor space. Especially now transitioning into a civilian life, I realise I'm not just, even though I was in the military, that's not me. That's not who I am. I'm more than that. And I think that's like there's a balance from that. You can't.
Who are you, Luke?
Who am I? I don't know. Co-founder of Contact Coffee Co at the minute. I'm still trying to work that out. So yes, I'm a Royal Marine, but that doesn't quite. It's made me who I am today, but it doesn't make me who I am totally now. So I'm moving into these other spaces. So okay, well, I'm into fitness, I'm into outdoor space, but it's always going to be military's always going to slightly be pulling me back, but I can reach into these different aspects, and that's where we want to sort of transition into as well. So yeah.
This has been amazing. Just a final question. Where do you see your future going, or where do you see the future?
The moon.
The moon. You're going to be drinking coffee on the moon.
Without going too structural into it and stuff, like we just see trying to steady the growth, looking at how we can grow. We want to push, we want to be a decent place in the UK, and then looking towards Europe, and then further down the line, why not look at the States? Why not push outwards?
Luke, I love your dream, and I love drinking coffee, and thank you so much for spending 5 minutes with me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoyed the show. Remember, there's a new interview out every Monday, so hit subscribe and like, and you'll get it straight into your inbox.